Happy New Year! Wait. No. It's Halloween Horror Month. Never mind. Hello there. I'm Scotty. You're not. And, wow. Just, wow. We're talking about a new release film that came out earlier this year, which is weird, because it came out earlier this year, but it's Halloween themed. I don't know why it didn't come out, now, around this time. Although it did, I wouldn't be able to do it unless it was, I don't know. But it's called Cobweb, and it's one that has been getting some traction within the horror community. It's one of those small indie hits that just came out of nowhere, like Barbarian did last year, But I liken it to a mix of the movie Mom and Dad with Nicolas Cage and that movie I reviewed last year for Halloween Horror Month, Don't Be Afraid of the Dark, that was just fine. It was okay. But I think it's similar to that. I've never seen Mom and Dad. I mean, I'm a Nicolas Cage guy. Whatever. Wait a minute. Hold on. Let me look at Nicolas Cage here. Let me look at the Cage Man himself. Where is Mom and Dad? Mom and Dad. Mom and Dad? Mom and Dad, not really. It can't be right here when I need it. School's out. I need it for it to be right there. Unless I put it in the horror section. Well, that might actually be it. Hold on, I'll be right back. The reason I wanted to grab it is because the parents in this are Anthony Starr, Homelander from The Boys, which admittedly I've never seen, but I've seen enough of Homelander clips and stuff. And Lizzie Kaplan, you may know from Hot Tub Time Machine, or she was Annie Wilkes in the second season of Castle Freak, which I have yet to watch. I thought she was the mom in Mom and Dad, but that's Selma Blair, so... Yeah. If you don't know, from what I heard, this movie's about some weird thing that makes the parents go crazy. And from the very beginning of this movie, there's some sort of... The parents are off. Something off with the parents. So it's about this kid. Whose name I forgot. What's his name? I forgot his name. Hold on. Say it on the back. Peter. Peter, who one night starts hearing noises that turn into knocks and then eventually voices of a girl within the walls. He tries to tell his parents and they don't believe him. And this leads to a connection with the substitute teacher, Mr. Vine. And a discovery of something that's in the walls, that everything that you thought was happening might not be as easy as black and white. Okay, so, like I said, this movie came out of nowhere for a lot of people. I was forewarned about this by people on YouTube and in Facebook groups, about, you need to see this, you need to watch this. And I'm telling you right now, you need to watch this. You need to watch this, because I'm going full spoilers on this. So before you go any further in my video, find this, watch this, okay? I think the biggest negative I have is that Walmart only had the DVD. Why do you do that? I don't get it. When it comes to horror, like new release horror, that are like independent stuff, we'll just get the DVD. We don't need a Blu-ray. Right? Oh, man. I want to use a paper towel going real quick. 3 points, baby. But, yeah. So, So I'm talking about not spoilers. I'm going to do spoilers now, so I'm going to go in full details. So, like I said, from the very beginning, you can tell that there's something off with the parents. They don't, it's a week before Halloween. They won't allow him to go trick-or-treating, and there's something going on you don't know. And then you have the school of life. Now, my eyes rolled back so far in my head, I bet they rolled out of my head, down through, and out my mouth. Just, there's a... Can we stop with the goddamn bully trope? It's overused in everything. And the only thing it leads to in this movie is a sequence towards the end that's basically a bloodbath. That's it. That's all it leads to. As you see the bullies get the comeuppance. Really, it's one of the bullies that pick on him and his cousins that get comeuppance. Because I'm sick of movies with kids in it having bullies. You don't need to depend on that for everything. It just feels like you need to have that in your film because that's what a movie with a kid character in it would have. And if you're going to have bullies, can you make them intimidating? This kid is about the same height as Peter. If you're going to have bullies, make them taller. Make them older. You know? Like, bringing in the cousins, that's the thing to do. Now, bullies are usually, from personal experience, taller or older. Taller because they're older. My bully that I had was in the same grade as me, but I'm a short person, so he was taller than me. But it just, when you have them be the same size, you know, that's the reason why they pick on you. They think you're weird. You're shorter than them. You're, you know, or you're fat, or you're less. But this kid is no more intimidating than Peter is. It doesn't make any sense. I've seen this in too many movies nowadays where, you know, you don't get those bullies. Look at other bullies in other movies. Look at Buzz from Home Alone. He's tall, got a buzz cut, he's intimidating, right? Devin Rattray's a big dude, right? And then you have, he's still kind of big. He's heavy set now, but he's still kind of big. But he was tall compared to Macaulay Culkin at least. And you have the kid from Jack Frost. Spiky hair, he's got the attitude. Can't smoke, so he's got a meat stick in his mouth to look intimidating. You know, he's got that thing about him. Bullies, you know, look at the kid from Home Improvement, Zachary Ty Bryan, right? He was in the most recent episode of Smallville that I reviewed, one of them, you know, and he was tall, intimidating and stuff, even though Tom Williams pretty tall himself, but you know what I mean? Get someone who's intimidating. This kid does not seem intimidating to me at all. And then again, he's a kid and I'm a 36-year-old man. But still, I'm just saying, like, if I was a kid, I would not be intimidated by this kid. You know, I'm just saying. But, yeah. So, he keeps hearing this voice. He tells his mom, and she doesn't do anything. She listens to the wall, nothing happens. She knocks on the wall, nothing happens. And I went, well, now why isn't it knocking back? There's a reason for that, but it doesn't 100% make sense. And then later, when it starts talking to him, says his name, freaks out, yells for his dad comes in, and again, nothing happens. I'm going to come back to these two moments when the reveal happens, because shit goes down. I feel like the movie would be over quicker if it did happen here, but eventually the teacher, the special substitute teacher, Miss Devine, finds a picture, a drawing that Peter has done, where it's his room basically. He's in the bed and there's like a white square on the wall that says, "Help me." She thinks he needs help, but not. I have to say this though. After Peter hears the voice and the dad knocks on the wall, he goes, "Oh, I think it's rats. We'll take care of him." So he gets rat poison, arsenic, and, you know, Peter smells it and it says it smells like cinnamon. Remember that. Because I didn't, it took me a second later when they come back to it. I'm like, oh, shit. But you think about it, at this one scene, So the teacher shows up with a picture and asks what's going on. And, quickly, the mom just sort of dismisses the teacher and then confronts her child about this. Like, why did you do this? What did you write? Why did you draw this? But she doesn't tell her husband yet. And then the girl on the wall basically tells him, hey, stand up for yourself, right? And so the bully does get in trouble. So what? This bully has no reason to pick on this kid at all. So they're making pumpkins. They're painting on the pumpkins, and the teacher says that Peter's is her favorite. So after school, the bully kid Brian shows up and destroys his pumpkin. 'Cause bully. And then the next day he has to bring in a new one. So we're not shown. Did Peter tell the teacher what happened and he was forced to do it? Or Ryan was forced to make a new one? Or did someone else see it and report him? There are other people out there, but I don't know. But it's here that he decides to get it back mown. And he semi-rightfully pushes the kid down the stairs. The kid breaks his leg and it looks horrifying. Now I say semi-rightfully because this kid deserves what he gets. But in Peter's, not in his defense, but in Brian's defense, I guess, to kind of guide Peter here. Pushing him down the stairs is probably not the best idea because the kid could have died and you're in a whole new mess. But some other way, you should always stand up for yourself. And then I would say, well, violence is not the way. And they're the first to... This is why we have an issue here. Because Peter stands up for himself, pushing this kid down the steps. And he gets punished, but the bully gets nothing. Right? And I don't know if it's even explained or anything. Like, Peter is pretty much like... secludes himself. They don't rightfully say, but he could be on the spectrum. You never know. He's withdrawn. He's quiet. He's not outspoken. He's picked on. He could be on the autism spectrum. Who knows? They never outright say it, but But if I were Peter, I would bring up, the whole situation with the bullying. But it usually does go down like this. Bully picks on you. You fight back. And because... that's the only thing teachers saw was you fighting back. You're the one that gets in trouble. Bully gets off scot-free. Even if you try to explain it to them, they'll tell you, oh, well, I didn't see that. I saw you fighting him, and that's what I'm going by. But you have to investigate. You have to figure out what's going on. You can't just punish this kid because that's what you saw. You have to investigate. But 9 times out of 10, teachers don't. They just go by what they saw. And if all they saw was your kid defending himself, then your kid's the one getting punished, and the bully gets off scot-free and gets to walk off with his friends. Just because of that. Now, I know there's, cameras in schools now, but I guess I'm not a kid in school, so I wouldn't know how effectively those are, but, effective. Because of this, he gets grounded and not sent to his room, but to the basement, which is a door located behind the refrigerator. What a weird house. And this door, by the way, this is a small door. It's not like overly small like the one later, but like Anthony Starr would have to bend down to go through the door. What's her name? Lizzie Kaplan barely fits through the door. But he is put down there in the basement and has to sit down there. And you can tell there's something else, so as I mentioned, So it looks like someone else may have been down there before. But I should mention that there is one of the early dinner scenes, they explain that the reason that they didn't let him go out on Halloween is because a few years earlier, like before he was born, a girl went missing and she was never found. And they don't want that to happen to him. And so you're led to believe that this girl talking to him is the girl that went missing. But this movie goes in such a steep direction. It just goes in another direction. It just makes you go, wah, huh? Because after spending a few days down in the basement, so I have an issue with something here, okay? So he's down in the basement. The teacher shows up because she's worried about him. She worries about him. She writes her phone number on his last math quiz. And this guy says, I'm giving this last math quiz. You did pretty good. Oh, we'll put it on the fridge, you know. But here's the... She comes in, and she's like... She tells the mom about it. And the dad's like, oh, hi. He's like, oh, I'm just bringing his last math quiz. Oh, that's good. I'll put it on the... Oh, that's good. I'll put it on the fridge. He never said it was that he passed. It was just his last math test. But, yeah. So... As she's looking around, the laundry machine is going off. The washing machine or the dryer, whatever. They say washing machine, but it could be... No, it's spinning around. A washing machine is going off, making noise. And Peter realizes that his teacher's there. He starts pounding on the door, and he's yelling, help me, help me, help me. But it's kind of hard to hear. Right? So... As she's going to leave, the washing machine stops. But he's still kicking the door. And he's kicking the door. And that's all he's doing. And I'm sitting there go, why aren't you saying help me now? You were saying it earlier. Why aren't you saying anything? Why are you just kicking the door? Why are you not speaking? Because if you spoke, she would try to rescue him and something would go down. With the writing, the way you write movies, the parents would probably kill her. And then there'd be no one to help Peter in the final act. So, it has to be written stupid like this. It has to be written this way so that Peter doesn't say anything. Because if he did, it kind of would be all over and they need to have the climax that they have. So, if that's the case, just don't have the teacher show up. But they need to. I don't know. She does visit before. I think. Yeah, with the thing. So why not write her number on the back of it or something and he finds it there or something. I don't know. But yeah, he doesn't say anything because we have to stretch the movie out, I guess. I don't know. So eventually he gets let free from the basement and goes back to his room where he talks to the little girl, and it's revealed the little girl is his older sister who was locked in the basement on Halloween. But the little girl that went missing is not the same girl. It's a girl that was trick-or-treating. She saw the sister and they killed her. And it's to confirm when he finds a skull buried in the backyard pumpkin patch, which has pumpkin rot. And I don't understand how that happens. I don't know. She convinces him he has to do something to get her out of there. So it's dinner time. They're having a soup. And as they're eating the soup, you may notice that Peter is not. But the dad and the mom, they're eating the soup. And the dad's like, this tastes a little different. Did you do something different with the soup? He said, what do you mean? What do you mean? He goes, oh, no, it's very tasty. It's very good. It's just, it tastes a little different. And she tastes more of it. And he knows Peter's not eating his. He's just sitting there. And he then the dad smells it. And he goes, it smells like cinnamon. And then it clicks in his head. As he looks over, Peter's not eating it at all. And the mom is still eating it. And the dad never once says, stop eating. He just sits there as he comes to the realization. And then, look, I don't know how poison works, but I do not think it causes you to puke up like that. Because here, they start puking up and then eventually die. The dad pukes up first and he eventually dies, and then the mom later. Although she does fall down the stairs and end up accidentally stabbing herself. But I know they have to do it like that for the movie, but it wouldn't be that. If you puked up the poison in your system, you'd probably be okay. Like, they show that Peter cut the phone cord, which this takes place in modern time, but they still have a corded phone. If you had a cell phone, I think maybe there'd be less issue with that, but you know. Again, we gotta write something like that so that it works this way. There's just some kind of writing here. So, this is where the movie goes cuckoo pants. So, as he goes to get the keys from his mom, his dead corpse, the mom kind of wakes up and goes, don't let her out. Completely ignoring that, he goes upstairs to the parents' room and finds a tiny door. Red flag, red flag, red flag. You see a tiny door, you go, and run off. But he opens it. It's behind a cuckoo clock a doom. It's behind his grandfather clock. He knocks it over. This 8-year-old kid is able to knock it over, but you know. He opens the door and it's a spider monster lady. Now, I enjoyed this last act, but I'm trying to put the logic together of how someone would be born like this. She's crawling around. She can crawl around like a spider. She's fast. They do hint at it earlier when he finds a spider in his classroom. And I'm like, is that supposed to be a hint? Because she's living on the walls? I will say that this was better done here than it was in Don't Be Afraid of the Dark. Little elf thingies. But I don't know. So at one point before, Peter tries to call the teacher, like the night before. And here, she decides to come help him. But before that, Bully and his cousins show up in masks to deal with it. And I was confused at first because they walk in and one of them goes upstairs. And I'm like, wait, why didn't he freak out about the mom's dead body by the stairs? And one of them goes in the kitchen. And again, nothing happens. I'm like, why aren't they freaking out about the bodies? Turns out, bodies aren't there. Bodies aren't there. There's spots where they used to be, but the bodies aren't there. Turns out, Spider Sister is eating them. So, then the bullies get taken down one by one, including Brian, which is done pretty well. And then we have a chase scene with Brian as the teacher shows up to help. And just as you think he's going to get out, Sister brings it back in, but then teacher comes to help again, and they lock Spider Sister in the basement instead of killing her. And we get an ending that is very confusing because it's implied here that he leaves and goes to live with the teacher, which would not be legal, by the way, because you have to go into the foster system, but I don't know. But it's also implied that this is being told by the sister. Like, no matter where you go, I will find you in your seat. Come up behind him. And this could all just be in his head, you know. But, I don't know. It's a weird ending. I don't know why I can't just go over a straightforward ending of they put her in there or they kill her, you know. But in the modern day times of 2023, nothing is done with the intent of just making a movie. And I could see the studio being like, well, we need an open ending because if this does well enough, we can make a sequel. Like they're doing with The Black Phone and Smile. Now, Smile, you could do a sequel because that curse could be passed. Now, that curse is passed to Kyle Gallner from the end of that. So you can continue with that. But with Black Phone, unless it's a prequel, I don't know how you'd pick up from that. But everything has to be done with a sequel. So by leaving it open-ended like that, you could say that, sure, for the sake of convenience, he's living with the teacher now. You'd also say he went to a foster home and he keeps hearing things in the walls. I don't know. You know how I would have ended this movie? And it's a cliche ending, but it makes sense. You see that, you know, no matter where you go, I'm gonna find you, comes up behind him, and cut. He wakes up in his bed. His parents come running in because he had a nightmare. And he's not sure what's happened. And they ask, he's a little off put because they're there. He's like, are you okay? And they hug him. It's okay, it's just a dream. And hug him, but he looks towards the wall. So you're unsure if what happened was real, if it was a dream, or what's going on. I know it's a cop-out ending, but it's an ending where it's like, was it real? Was it not? I know by making it not real, it kind of makes it unnecessary, but I don't know. The only other ending you could have is that he and the teacher killed his sister. Which could happen, I guess, but... Wait, if she ate the parents, isn't she poisoned? The poison was still in their system. If you eat something that's poisoned, you get poisoned. She ate both the parents. Wait a minute. Seth Rogen, Evan Goldberg, logic drop here. If she ate both the parents, she should now be poisoned. But Seth would be like, well, you see, she's not affected by poison because she's a creature. I don't know, but I don't know. I like to know what kind of birth defect makes you like a spider too. It's weird. I'm gonna give it a pretty good, but a very low pretty good. Like it's just jumps over the top of middle of the road. It was enjoyable, decent movie, so it gets a low pretty good from me. So, what are your thoughts on Cobweb? In the comments below, make sure to like, share, and subscribe. Thank you for watching. I've been Scotty, and I'll see you in the next one.